Good morning, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us for today's special event. My name is Myra Baiti, and I will be your MC for today. I'm very happy to welcome all of you to the third Bake and Make Entrepreneurs Workshop by Kuali Bakers. And just to give you a little background, Kuali Bakers is a digital community created by Kuali and Anchor Food professionals since 2020 to empower small businesses and home bakers such as yourselves to help grow your business and make your mark in the baking industry. Through the Kuali Bakers program, we hope to help aspiring bakers unleash their full potential. More than just a platform where you can get baking tips and exclusive classes, Kuali Bakers hopes to form a tightly knit community to accompany each other on your baking journeys. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. We have some amazing speakers lined up in a short while, and these renowned entrepreneurs will be sharing with you their finest baking tips, entrepreneurial advice, and feedback based on their own journey. And I would like to take this time to thank Anchor Food professionals, as this workshop would not have been possible without them. Anchor Food professionals has been creating high-quality, fit-for-purpose products and solutions for food service professionals around the world to suit business needs and satisfy consumer tastes. They work behind the scenes to deliver exciting new tastes and products for chefs, bakers, caterers, hotels, restaurants, cafes, and more. So thank you so much for making this event a reality. And for all of those at home, I know that you are eager to hear from our first speaker, but before we get started, we do have some very exciting news. Besides getting to learn from our speakers, you'll also stand a chance to win exclusive prizes more than 4,000 ringgit, worth more than 4,000 ringgit. If you want to know how, at the end of each session, we will ask you a question based on the speakers, what our speakers have shared, and the QR code will appear on the top right of your screen. When it does appear, please scan the QR code and answer a few simple questions, and the first few people to answer the question correctly will receive a gift. We will also be placing the contest link in the comment section for the benefit of those joining us via mobile. Now, to qualify to win, be sure to put in the correct answer along with your details in the Google form. So stay tuned for that. And before we hear from our first speaker, we do have a few housekeeping matters that we want to attend to. If you encounter any difficulties, you may chat with our events crew. Alternatively, you can reach out to us at events@thestar.com.my. We also do appreciate your patience and understanding for any technical glitches that might occur during this live event. And if you have any questions for our panelists, do not be shy. We welcome questions. Please post them in the Facebook comment section, and we will get to them as soon as we can, and if time permits. If you do have any questions for our speakers, please participate in the Q&A by posting questions in the Facebook comment box. And towards the end of the session, kindly participate in our short survey at the end of the workshop. All right, everyone, that was the housekeeping for the event today. But to begin today's session, I would like to introduce the speaker for our opening address. As an Anchor Food professional, our first guest leads the entire food service division to deliver superior dairy solutions to thousands of bakeries, hotels, restaurants, and cafes across Malaysia and Brunei. It gives me such a great pleasure to welcome Jack Tan, the Food Service Director of Fonterra Brands Malaysia. Jack, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Thank you, Myra, and thank you once again for welcoming me. A very, very good morning, and ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for allowing me to be here today and for this opening remark. Today marks another day for us to look at how can we continue to build the home bakers community within Malaysia and Brunei. As we embark on a journey since last year in March, we know that home bakers is no longer just alone, a person in the kitchen, as well as an individual business. We know that this is a community base. We know that this is here to stay. In Anchor Food Professional, our mission is to serve the inspiration to deliver the performance in the business of food and supporting each and every food operator to be successful in your business. Let's watch the next video to know how we as Anchor Food Professional deliver performance via quality dairy ingredients across the globe.
We are Anchor Food Professionals, one of the world's leading dairy food service companies. and part of the New Zealand-based cooperative Fonterra. Our food service passion and expertise is global. We strive every day to provide food professionals around the world the ingredients for success that come from our innovative dairy and business know-how. With over 100 years of Anchor dairy expertise behind us, we're focused on designing the highest quality dairy products for each and every customer and their needs. Quality and product performance always comes first, but we know that how our products are used differs for local tastes and food styles. We understand these varying needs because of our on-the-ground experience in over 50 markets. That's our global expertise and local insight in action, finding the best solution for you, your kitchens and your customers, delighting them with the tastes, appearances and textures they love. Our hero product range comes from New Zealand with the classic dairy taste, style and quality you expect. We complement this with a selection of quality dairy products made in other countries, offering you a portfolio of choices in style and functionality to meet your needs. Our European style products offer a lighter colour and flavour. Just one example of how we create the perfect choices for you and your customers. Of course, wherever our products come from, they're produced to our world-class quality standards. We're proud to work with chefs and business partners across the globe, shoulder to shoulder in their kitchens. It's how we make sure we're always offering what you need to grow your business and delight your customers. That means you can have confidence we'll always deliver innovative solutions, outstanding services and inspirational products that are tailored to the styles and tastes that you and your customers seek. It's why we're here, serving up inspiration every day.
Serving up inspiration is what we do here at Anchor Food Professional, all in, day out. In 2020 and 2021, there is no doubt it's the hardest hit due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as customers have to transform and reinvent to survive. Whether it's new kitchen concepts or digital-enabled deliveries, or finding new ways to reaching new customers. This is something that each and every food and beverage entrepreneur has to go through in order to survive. But in every crisis lies more opportunity. With more time at home, coupled with the need of economic support, many have turned home baking as a hobby, and some have turned it into a new career. Whether it's customized, artisanal, value for money, personalized, heritage style, mom's special recipe as one of the many key value propositions on why home bakers is thriving and will continue to thrive in the years to come. Since the beginning of 2020, Kuali and Anchor have came together with the idea to support the community and to grow the Home Bakers channel via all its integrated platforms. Whether it's starting with newsletter to drive education, contests for engagement and giveaways, Facebook Live with our Anchor Food Professional in-house chef and media influencer, or hosting webinars like Bake and Make here today, focusing on supporting home bakers in terms of knowledge upgrade, as well as building a community further beyond product and solution. Therefore, we are leveling up now with 2 new initiatives on top of everything we have been doing in the past 12 to 18 months. Introducing to you the Anchor Startup, the first ever online platform created for home bakers by home bakers as well as our culinary school partners. From understanding product features, choice of ingredients, costing models, to digital marketing, Anchor Startup aims to turbocharge home bakers' growth through education and understanding. We believe that as a home bakers community, we are here, be with you, grow with you, and ultimately helping you to be more successful in your local businesses. Secondly, we are also proud to launch The Better Place, a free local directory with the aim to support local home bakers to reach more customers beyond social media. I know currently you are selling through WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. With no fees required, Anchor users will be able to use this platform as a showcase of their product as a directory, building more reach and access through our Kuali partnerships and driving more traffic to you. Now, let's watch a video on this initiative. Thank you.
Want to learn how to expand your business?
Nak belajar cara kembangkan bisnes?
Pursue your passion and dream. Sign up.
Sign up.
Jom daftar dengan startup today.
Support your local bakers at the better place.
Love sweet treats? Support your local baker at a better place.
All right, so that was an exciting video, and also thank you so much to Jack for his amazing opening address. It's so amazing how Anchor Startup and Kuali Bakers have been contributing to the growing bakers community. I wish we could see more and know more, but that's why we have a lot of the rest of this event, and we also have a special surprise for you. Are you ready for our first giveaway? And that is right. We have prizes from Anchor for the fastest 10 people who can answer this question correctly. And the question is, what is the name of the local directory to find local bakers that Anchor and Kuali has built? In case you didn't catch that, this is the question. The question is, what is the name of the local directory to find local bakers that Anchor and Kuali has built? All right, so that is the question. Now, please scan the QR code on the top right of the screen and be the first 10 to respond and win exclusive vouchers. You better hurry up. You can also find the contest link in the comment section for those of you joining us via mobile. Next up, let's talk about the industry and how Startup was produced to meet a need in the market. The recent pandemic spun out many new home bakers and food entrepreneurs who are either professionally trained or home trained. Baking has become a new, picked up hobby for many, as well as for some, this hobby is their sole income. The baking business is a serious business, and today we are joined by Yong, who played a pivotal role in the creation of Startup with the Kuali team, as well as Eddie, a self-made entrepreneur. They will share their experiences in the education and baking industry, as well as their journey to success. So we have them here today in our studio. How are you guys feeling?
Excited.
Great.
All right, cool. You look excited.
Actually nervous.
No worries, no worries. We're all friends here. But before we start, though, we will give them both a formal introduction because this is a formal event. Mr. Yong Lee Kwong is the CEO of the MIP College. He is a boutique it is a boutique college offering full-time diplomas and part-time certificate courses in baking and plant-based cuisine. Yong has been involved with the business for 10 years and has a great interest in nurturing talent and entrepreneurs in the food service industry. And right beside him, we also have Mr. Eddie Tan, the founder of Caketella. Caketella launched when Eddie was just 23 years old, and when he started out with his baking business, he decided to specialize in crafting cakes that are made with alcohol. So, gentlemen, tell us a little bit more about your business and how it started out. So, who wants to go first?
You want to go first?
Go ahead lah.
Okay. So how I started off was, I think I started 9 years ago from a home, and then this year during MCO, we actually moved into like an online kitchen. So now we have like a team. We managed to scale up to a point where we have a team of 22 people, right? So yeah. So for us, MCO was actually a very tough time. Maybe we can share my story later on.
All right, thank you so much for that. And what about Young? What about you? How did you start out in this journey?
My journey started when I was born, honestly. So it's a family business, right? I'm the third generation. And we are Malaysian Institute of Baking. You know, the name says for itself. We have training education in the baking industry. We've been around for over 50 years in the baking industry. So I'm really excited, actually, to share not just from a training education point of view in the baking business, as well as us transforming and moving with the times, you know, over decades of being in this business. So, yeah, I'm really happy also to be with Eddie. You know, you are, in this day and age, he's the new leader, the new bakers and businesses that are coming up. So I'm very excited.
You want my autograph? I can sign for you later.
All right, thank you so much for that. And I think you brought up a really good point as well. I think in a lot of the times in a crisis, right, a lot of us can feel downtrodden. We can feel like it's hopeless. But at the same time, there are unknown little silver linings, in the clouds. For example, with the home bakers and this new industry popping up. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So I want to go to Eddie, right? So can you just share just a little bit how you started your baking business of selling these alcoholic cakes, and why specifically alcoholic cakes?
Okay. Long story short, I went to study culinary arts, but back then when I studied culinary arts, it wasn't something great. It was a course where if you're not smart, you don't have good result, you study culinary. So I want to thank my parents for giving me the opportunity to do this career. So I was actually a chef, I'm not a baker. So I'm very into French cuisine. So in the French cuisine, we use a lot of brandy, cognac, a lot of alcohol in their food. So I was thinking, hey, why not I just put alcohol into cakes? And that would be something very unique for me to shout about. So long story short, we started off from home, supplying to cafes and restaurants, until today, where we actually are more popular in terms of just solely focusing on alcoholic cakes.
That's interesting. I think always like new ideas always come from different places, right? So you have all these different. You're from a different industry, and you brought in your experience into this new industry. You mentioned that you started from home, right? So what kind of support when you first started out? What kind of support did you get support? And if you didn't, what kind of support that you wish you could have? And as well as what kind of support do you have now?
So, when I started off, I don't really have a very rich parents, so I just use my mom's oven and a small mixer, until today we slowly scale up. I think during the start, for me, it was a bit of tough because I was an artist. I'm very good in baking cake, but I don't really know how to run a business, right? So from there, I slowly learn, and I go through a lot of hardship because I don't have a mentor, I don't have someone to guide me. So we actually started off we started off doing B2B, which means we supply to the cafe and restaurant. Back then was 2014, 2015. Back then it was the coffee or the cafe start opening, right? So we actually started at the right time because the cafe was so overwhelmed. They didn't have time to make cakes anymore. They just want to make coffee and serve customers. So we were the one who go in. But when we started off, I was a bit naive. I just wanted to sell alcohol cakes. But then I forgotten the rule of thumb for business is always provide value to the customer. You always do what the customer wants, not what you want, right? So I started off selling a lot of non-alcoholic cakes, right? Until at one point where I have enough customers, some of them start to ask, hey, Eddie, do you have something special? Then I was like, jing, 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 I have alcoholic cake, right? And then we start to, So back then our brand was a bit more unknown to the B2C market, but we were in quite a lot of cafe and restaurant. Right now we are in 60 restaurants and cafe. But during our last year MCO, we almost lost all of them. We were out of our whole business. We made a mistake. We were 90% B2B. We were only 10% B2C. So when I have a team of like 15 back then, right, we had no business for 2 weeks, and it was a nightmare. So I did the standard SOP, which I told my team, hey, don't worry, everyone get 2 full months of salary. Just trust me, I will figure a way out. And I feel that. Bad time and good time, there's always way to make it work. So for me, I went for a few Facebook marketing class, very basic level. I was dabbling on it, and those 2 weeks I told myself, if I don't figure out this marketing right, my whole brand is gonna die. So for me, it's do or die. So I put in a lot of effort to the point right now. I'm proud to say that we actually spend quite a lot on marketing, and we are actually quite a for Caketella as a B2C brand right now. I think we have already established our brand right now.
Yeah, thank you for that. Actually, just a little bit of a clarification for the audience, because we have a wide range of audience members, and also for me, because I also want to learn more about baking. So B2B is bakers to baker, and B2C is
B2B is a business to business. B2C is a business to customer.
So that means that in the beginning, you started by baking cakes and selling it to businesses, and then you realized that
restaurant.
So you realized that what you would have done different was then to supply to the customer.
Yes, customer I will go heavily because just imagine MCO, right? 90% of cafe restaurant all closed down. I still remember, so all them closed down, we got no business. So we only have that 10% customer left. So it was really very risky move. That 10% is not enough to sustain our business. But thank God, within that 1 month, we managed to come up with a few products to give a solution. Like one of the product we came out with was just what we call a box set. Right? Sorry, the name just sounds very very normal.
No, it's okay.
What happened is it's just like a few slices of cakes for customer to try, because a lot of them never tried us before. From a business term or a layman term, it's straightforward. You wouldn't buy a whole birthday cake for someone, let's say young birthday. Let's say, if I want to buy you a birthday cake, I want to make sure it's very good, right? So it's a very high-risk product. So what we did was we packaged into 4 different slices, 4 different flavors. So at least we get to try first, and we found Yong like the rum raisin a lot. So I know, okay, next month, Yong's birthday, I'll buy a rum raisin. So that actually helped us to create a very low entry point to B2C. Yeah, and from there, we managed to scale up.
Yeah, that's interesting actually, because I think that is a good point. I think cakes are a huge investment. Like I remember usually if I'm going to have a birthday party or if I'm going to, for the first time, I don't know what their favorite cake is.
Right.
Sometimes people also don't know when I'm buying a cake for myself, I'm like, what do I want? And to have to be able to sample it in a small, a smaller version is a really good idea. Where did you get that idea from?
So it all happened when we found out the next day at 10 p.m. we couldn't operate. Our cafe cannot open anymore. So that 10 to 11 o'clock, in between that 1 hour, all of our cafe called me, hey, Eddie, I cannot take your cakes for cafe. So the next day I woke up, I got 150 cake in the fridge. I was like, what do we do with this? So for us, for cafe, we cut and wrap into slices. So my right hand told me, it was her idea, it wasn't my idea. Okay, it was her idea. Her name is Suing. It was her idea that why not we just bundle it into 4 slices into 1 box, random flavor, and then we just sell at a discounted price. And that actually pick up and save us throughout the whole MCO to manage to sustain.
That's amazing. It's one thing to be faced with chaos, right? And there's another thing to turn chaos into opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And then flip it over. Yeah, that's thank you so much. But also, so Yong on the other hand was at the support end of the entrepreneurship journey, so you were like down there, and you're on the support end, equipping many young talents with the skills that they need to grow a baking business. So you've mentioned earlier, now Yong is your new mentor. So let's hear from you with your experience at running MIB, right? What is the key to growing and sustaining your business?
I think based on, I think most of the people here are maybe home bakers that are thinking of starting, some are already started and they want to grow, some have started and think, oh, I'm happy with the size, So I can't really answer everything, but on a general level, we want to start a business, and how he started is that I have a great idea. He's very confident with the product and what he likes and what he thinks people will like. So I think that is how most home bakers start already in the first place. You bake for friends, family, people like it, and and you start to sell. And thank you to technology, right? E-commerce, and because imagine taking orders on telephone and writing, and then where's your address?
The first 2 months MCO, we were taking through WhatsApp manually. It was a nightmare.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was a nightmare until the second month we set up a website, but it took us 1 month to get a website up.
Yeah. That happens with websites. There's a lot of, this is what people don't tell you.
And I'm saying take even a step back from that. Before we had WhatsApp, imagine taking from a phone. Imagine telling them how to get to your house. What are you going to do? I'm saying technology has allowed us to be in this position where it's possible to go B2C.
Yeah.
Right, like you say, I have 150 cakes, and what am I going to do?
Possible to go B2C in terms of you don't need to open a physical outlet everywhere. Right? You just pop up in one place, you use delivery, or customer come and pick up. Yeah.
And I know some of home bakers as well just sell to the taman. Happy, they can sustain their business and grow from there. So what I'm saying is that there is a really good opportunity there because of technology, and that's why home baking is booming. And the other part of it is that the social part, where everyone is okay to pay online. Imagine 1-2 years ago, most people are like,
they don't want.
thank you.
Yeah, correct. One of the better things to come out of the pandemic.
Yeah, things like that. Like you say, challenges, when challenges come, opportunities, possibilities arise. So we look at it that way. So I'm just saying, technology-wise, it's a lower hanging fruit, as you say. So if you want to grow, and back to the question, right? Always start with the idea. Either you solve a problem. There's always a demand somewhere. Is it there already is a demand? My taman wants healthy breads, for example, or create a demand like alcoholic cakes. No one ever thought of that in Malaysia, for example. Start from there, and then the next step, how you're going to make money. That's where things like this, like a startup, is there to help you. People like there's mentors. Eddie himself is a mentor now. Yeah, and many of the speakers after this as well. Your customers, these are people that will keep you going. So if you want to grow and you want to There's so many things to go, strategies and stuff. But end of the day, I like what Eddie said there. I think I'll fix on this customers. I always go and speak to homemakers and they say, how do you stop burnout, for example? Sometimes you end up in production, marketing, finance. Most of the problems are HR.
We are the CEO, Chief Everything Officer.
I usually say Chief Entertainment, but we get stuck in that. You see, so when you run a business, especially when you're if you're the owner of the business, right? You get stuck in and you forget why are you doing the business in the first place? It's for the customers. As long as you keep, your communication with the customers, that is enough. They will say, oh, I like your cake, or I think this can be improved. You know exactly why you're doing the business in the first place. It's customers. It's down to the customers.
Yeah, I agree with Yong, because for me, right, I'm just gonna admit, MCO was a very tough time for me. Many times I just broke down and cried, right? Because at first you don't have business, then your business is too good, but you don't know how to use technology to solve your problem. When you're taking phone, we were working 13, 14 hours with my team every day. It's just so tiring to the point, it's like, why am I still doing this? But then I realized and I remember my childhood, my family, our lifestyle is always revolving around good food, right? So for me, whenever I think back about my mom coming home early or waking up early just to cook for us, she just wanted to spread love. So one of the reasons I started alcoholic cake because I wanted to impress my dad. He's a foodie, he liked new stuff, So for me, alcohol was something unique in the market, right? So every time I think back about my family, my core, my childhood, this is an experience I really want to create for my customers.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I think that's often the thing that makes or breaks you, right? When it gets hard, to find that thread of that little silver lining. I said silver lining a lot, but that little silver lining that can keep you going. So just to recap what you said, Yong, earlier, right? So the first thing is technology, right? But also the second thing in terms of motivation is to remember why you started doing this, or to remember your passion, not get bogged down by a lot of the the day-to-day things. Yes, that's what I think what a lot of us have to face, not just in baking, but also starting in a lot of other businesses in general. Thank you so much for that insight. But I do want to know just a little bit more about startup, right? So there's this new body, this startup, and how you can help with startup to help home bakers, out there, how this can help them in their journey. And also tell them about, the different modules that you have. Just a little bit, just.
Yeah. So where do I start? I'm so excited about this. The startup is designed by home bakers. All right. We started off. Karine, Karen, and I think Alina, Lorraine. These are the team in the Kuali team. We sat down and we said, from their side is that we've got so many FAQs. How to start a business? What do I buy? How much do I need? How can I grow? How do I prevent burnout? So many things. And then from our side, obviously we have a diploma. We have things that we have too much to do in 30 videos. So then we really got from there. So what do we want from here? We just want to inspire, because like I said, technology is there. People are really looking for this, home bakers, personalization, customization. You see 2-3 years ago, that's the buzzword around, and now it actually is happening, right? And we just wanted to create something that inspires and educates, right? And as you said with the question, supports people that want to start a home baking business. So what we did was I believe in keeping things simple. Really in education, it's about keeping things simple. So it's only 3 areas when you're running a home business. Operations, all right?
Yeah. Right.
And then the finance or the business part, right? Which includes HR, legal, everything in there. And also marketing, which is the one that makes sure you have keep money in. So when you talk operations, what's in the module, maybe I can share a bit more about the modules. With operations, we're talking about ingredients, equipment, right? And instead of giving tips, we do give you tips like, okay, which kind of fats to use, margarine, butter. But we go a deeper level and say, why should you use butter? Why should you use whipping cream? What does it do to the gluten formation, for example? If you want something like a short crust pastry, or your fruit tarts when it crumbly, or you must rub in the butter to the flour first so that it coats the flour, right? The butter coats the flour, and then the gluten doesn't form. So you end up with a pastry that's nice and crumbly. So if you know why, you can, there's the basics, really small things that I put in. And then you also have like hygiene, which is part of operations. Understanding, for example, bacterial growth. I try not to go too much into detail. Just want to cover everything, right? And then hygiene, you've got menu planning, which ties in with culture. You have to understand, am I selling to mothers that have children? Am I selling to on the go, people are working, things like that? So that all comes together. That's operations part of things. And then with the finance, the business part, how do I start the business? What should I think of, and very important is phases of the business. So like everyone might say, okay, you must try this, try that, go expand B2B, B2C. But actually it's down to which phase of your business are you in. For example, are you struggling to survive? Are you making money and still building a team? Are you, so these kind of things. We say very simply, you will understand how it goes. So that's the business part. And then the marketing part, So that's how we cover it. It covers everything, and the questions come from you guys. So it's perfect for people that need support and need a bigger thing. And also to add to that is that you have I think the better place and things like that. It's where you can meet people in the industry. That's what will keep you going and expanding.
I think peers in the same industry helps you a lot. And another thing was to get a mentor. Like imagine if back then when I started, I have a mentor who actually walked through whatever I just walked through, right? Like, okay, first, right, and then I wouldn't end up working for 2 months for 13, 14 hours just taking order from WhatsApp, where it can actually be solved just by having a website, right? Very simple solution.
And just one final thing to add is that,
okay, keep going.
this final thing is to add that we have one module, one particular one called 8 Common Traits of a successful chef entrepreneur, right? So we got a co-author for this study to come and speak about it, Identify 8, and he shared on one of it, which is have a mentor, and things like you need to know your challenges and things. So what I'm trying to say is that this module is perfect for people who are just starting out, whichever phase you're in. If you already started or you haven't started, it's perfect. You've got people like Eddie on there as well to share his experience, to tie it together with principles and fundamentals.
Guys, just a tip. Once, if you manage to scale out your business, you want to hire people, right? Look for Yong. His student is one of the best. Right, I'm serious. Students from MIB are really very good.
All right, that's amazing. That's amazing. Actually, I like the sound of this because it sounds like a master's course in business, but tailored specifically to bakers. And it's also user generated, because you're telling me that a lot of the content that you come up with is in fact sourced from questions that what kind of questions usually would you get? Like the most common question that you would get from your audience members or your students, and maybe just a little bit, just share a little bit of a tip on how to overcome that challenge.
How much start business?
How much
is it to start a business? That's like the number one thing before you think about anything. And you added, what you say is right, you are both, you're not just the baker or the chef, you are also the CEO, that runs everything that I just mentioned, finance and marketing, everything. So that's the challenging part, and that's where it's a real learning curve for anybody. So I don't want to, sound like it's to scare anybody, but what it is that always start with that. Always start with what, you enjoy it, you are with your customer, you're serving your customer. Everyone has a bake before, the reaction on the person's face when they get your product. That is enough. You work 12 hours, 20 hours a day, what it is.
What do you, Eddie? Do you agree with that? Do you think that's the most satisfying thing, to look in your customer's face?
Yeah, for me, definitely. Just to share a bit of story, right? 2 years ago, I had this customer, because we still take offline, so I still talk with the customer. Customer told me, hey, my dad had your cake, and bad news for us, he don't want to share with us. And then usually he don't eat cake. That was very meaningful for me. And then the next year, right, she bought the cake again. Then I asked, hey, how's your dad? Did your dad share with you this round? They said, sorry, my dad passed away. We buy this cake just as a memory for them. And for me, that story of how powerful a cake can be or food can be, right, really gives me a lot of meaning on it.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Just before we move on with the rest of the discussion, I just want to let everybody in the audience know that if you're interested, you can click on startup from kuali.com, or you can go directly to www.startupkuali.com, and Startup features 11 learning courses converting topics from operations to strategy and food business, just like Yong mentioned earlier. But just to carry on with the conversation, right, Eddie, as a home baker turned entrepreneur, right, what do you think is the most challenging part about starting your baking business?
Okay, so like Yong whatever just said, because he's he's a smart guy. For me, I'm not very educated, so I break down into simple terms. So when starting a business, always three things: sales, people, and system. Right? So you always get sales, after that you hire more people, and then you invest in machine, you invest in technology or whatever. So it's always a cycle. So mainly for home baker, I think just for my story, my startup point was, how do you get more business and how do you hire enough people, right? Because for example, if you get a lot of business, you got nobody, you cannot cope, and then you lose your customer, or you work too long hours, quality is not there, right? Or another way around is you hire too many people, then you got no business, and then you're dead. So like how I started my story is always, I think one good tip is resourceful. It's not about how much money you have. I started with my mom one very whole, I think the hand mixer is national. I don't even think but I used it for 2 years and it broke down. It's very old school, but it's very durable. So the thing is, always start small. Don't try to be impressive. Because reality business, you look at us here, right? We talk, right? But in reality, I'm sure we went through a lot of challenges, right? But for us, challenges is a very good opportunity to grow and to be a better version of ourselves. Yeah, so coming back to that, it's always being resourceful, try to figure out how to use leverage. Like for me, when I got my first start, right, it was actually my retired dad. Right, my retired dad. My dad is retired. He has nothing to do, right? So
you are run a family business as well?
In a way, free labor, right? Yeah, I'm just joking, right? And then the second staff was his girlfriend, who's retired. So what they do, right? Last time was my first two of them. They will come in the morning. Afternoon, they go makan. They got money, then they go golf club to practice golf, and they play golf on Sunday. So at least this job sustain their side income.
Wow,
yeah. But anyway, so it's always about leveraging and figure out how to, get the people in.
Yeah, thank you, Eddie. And so that means, right, if you have any friends or any family members that have a very expensive hobby, you know what to do. You can source them in for your business. Actually, yeah. And to Yong as well, right? Do you agree? Do you agree? Okay, so we talked a lot about like mentors, and we talked about a lot about support in businesses, right? But what kind of specifically, like other than mentorship, right? Are there any kinds of support that you need for your business? So a mentorship, and then you've got employees to try and figure out employees source from your friends, guys. Any kind of other helpful supports that perhaps new business owners or entrepreneurs, should look out for or find?
I think though the challenges, I think the main thing is that if you know what challenges are ahead of you, then that helps a lot for you to push forward. So for example, like myself, when I first took over, I also had a mentor, right? And mentor said to me, hey, look, there's a recession every 12 years, so because I think we had like 2019, 2020, 2021, it's sort of like, economy isn't that bad. So don't worry so much. We've been here for 50 over years. We've survived 4 or 5 recessions. So what he said to me is that, hey, look, every 12 years is a recession, plan for it. 2021, next one's going to be 2032, maybe, I don't know. But you look back, when's the last recession? 2008.
Yeah.
Look back before 2008.
I would say that we're going through one now, just a little bit. Yeah.
So now we're having one, right? 2021, you're minus 12.
Yeah.
Right, 2008. You go back again, 1987, 1998. Go back again, 1988. It's not nothing. As a surprise, business people know that. It is a cycle.
Yeah.
So you always, know what the challenges are ahead. You already know. Okay, when it comes, it's reaching the 12th year. I should be saving up money rather than starting to expand. I should be saving up money so the next one comes. I survive. My competitors don't survive. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. And then you grow from there. So know the challenges ahead. These are some of the things that you can do. Yeah.
Speaking about mentors as well as experience. So MIB College has been around for a while, right? So could you tell us a little bit more background about MIB College and the business as well?
So as you say, it's a family business. Not too dissimilar from Eddie, right? So started by my grandparents, right? And as usual, in those in the 1960s, the whole family will be there. You have many kids, and all your kids are helping out. So we started off as a confectionery shop, Chinese confectionery shop, and then My uncles and my late father as well went to UK to study. Came back with the bakery and things like that, so the European style bakery, and we started a bakery, chain bakery, went into manufacturing, and then at that time people were interested to learn how to make cake dan roti, this kind of thing, and then that's when we started the sort of education training branch, and then we've grown on to become deli, cafe, restaurant, you name it, we've tried all of it. So we as a education, 1977 we actually started doing training. In 1990 we started to do diploma and so on and so on. So that's sort of the background that we are now. For the past 3-4 years, myself and my sister. So I say I'm almost one half of a brother and sister team. That's running this, and we're the third generation, and that's really rich history.
Does it put a lot of stress on you? Because there's always a saying, third generation always mess things up.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah,
I've heard that before.
Yeah. So there's a lot of pressure on you. Personally, I respect you a lot because you're in a lot. It's very hard to take over an old business, and I'm sure you got a lot of old people in. I won't say old, you have a new direction. Right, you're a fresh blood, so you will want to revamp the business.
Yeah, that's actually a good point as well, because there are not a lot of businesses that can carry on certain generations. But that being said, it doesn't mean that yours won't. The question is, do you feel that pressure? Do you feel that pressure, or is it just like a natural thing? It's like walking.
I think we're blessed. My family is very blessed in the sense that, number one, like my father has always been, do whatever you want. I did mechanical engineering. I worked in the solar power industry for a while before I came back. Oh, okay. I never thought I would actually do the business, to be honest. But I've been involved from very early on. I was very interested in this. And then number two, it's in our blood, whatever you want to do. Look, I have a huge family. Out of 10, maybe 6, 7 are in the food business. We would have studied whatever we wanted, but we would end up in it's just in the blood, it's how we grew up, and it's a central part of our family. So it's more of a blessing than a curse, I'd say. As long as we want to do it, I feel deeply. I know that we want to do it. Same as home bakers, you know that you want to do it. There's no resistance, inside yourself. You're very honest with yourself, especially when you run a business. You have to be very honest with yourself. Is this what I want? It is, then 100% it's not a challenge at all.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that as well. Because I'm just going to share just a little bit, because you guys have been talking for a while as well. So I'm just going to share just a little bit as well. No, it was a good thing. Wonderful. We want to have good conversations. So I think my family also did start a business, baking business way back when, and it was also a family baking business. But I'll just share just a little bit about this. It's just that when they first started out, like you mentioned, they are very, very passionate about wanting to bake. I have such high standards for cakes until today because of my grandmother and my mother, I will tell you. But when they started to go forward, right? So they didn't really have a lot of business training, and because of that, the passion eventually kind of fizzled out because everything else overwhelmed them. So since we were already talking about that earlier, right? Like, how do you make sure that just if you don't have those memories, right? If you don't have that kind of like, I saw my customer's face, light up, or you find it hard to remember, especially now, when home baking is such a very competitive industry, right? So to find that motivation, like how do you pull it out of you,
For me, I've been through what your parents been through. So for me, right, I at first, I really enjoy making the cakes, right? But when we start to scale up to a team of 8, I need to let go of production, which means my team actually handles, but I'm still the one dictating the direction. So during that period, I run operation and I work on a business. I felt a bit lost because I thought baking was my passion, So I was really lost. So I was lost, to be honest, probably for 1 year. And then I found out, food is just a vehicle for me to spread my love or my memories. So I found out a higher calling, or a higher purpose, which is, to be able to help my team to grow, to be a better version of themselves. I find that more meaningful than being a very selfish me trying to just be the one baking, right? So, and then when we start to grow even bigger, like a team of 15, I need to let go of operation, right? End up, I need to be the father or the mother of the company. I need to manage people, right? Because if I take care of my team will take care of my customers. So different phase of business requires a different skill set.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's a really good perspective. I think when you first start out, right, what you want to do is you kind of want to run everything yourself. It's my baby, you know.
You
this
don't
is mine.
trust, yeah, because it's your baby. You don't trust other people.
Yeah, so you learn to let go, and that prevented you from feeling that
Yeah,
feeling of
because
overwhelm.
the fear comes from your ego. For me, but the fear comes from my ego of people not doing up to standard. But in reality, so much more people who can do it better than me. So why am I limiting them? It's only a matter of are they the right people, and did I provide the right training or platform for them to shine? Right.
Yeah, thank you. And Young?
Yeah, and my take on that is, I think more on the business side of things. So I think that's the biggest challenge for most homemakers. How do I manage my finances? You know, I think part of the reason why you can enjoy as much as you can, but if you're losing money and you're you know, there's no more money left in your pocket, even if you love it, you're going to have to cut it off and say, no, this is not for me. Right, so that's a very important part. Just very simple, basic bookkeeping. You know, these are things that you know. Are you making money or not making money? I think most people can't say that. I say, oh yeah, I buy ingredient. You know, so very simple. Like in the startup thing, what we have is 4 quadrants, and we'll tell you that how you want to manage money. The only thing that you need to know, okay, I'll just finish off, is that a business is like it's like human, like a baby. Okay, cash is your blood. You know, as long as you have enough blood going around your body, no, you're fine. So treat it like that, okay? Treat cash as that, and then we'll give you a tip on how actually you should manage it to make sure that it goes on, so that you can keep your business going.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So I think there's a lot about. So I think it's a lot about planning, a lot about making sure that, you know, in the face of adversity, it's gonna come. You know, you got to make sure that you prepare for it, which is something that you've repeatedly said as well. So thank you so much to bring that point home. You know what I mean? I think that's a very important thing as well to talk about. And Eddie, thank you so much for sharing all your experiences. You know, there's so much heart. I think between the two of you all, right, I think this is one of the things that is really important for people to know, you know. It's really cool. You got the heart, you got the practicality, you've got the passion. But before we go, right, we're not going to go yet, but before we go, we do have some questions from the audience after this. But before we go to the Q&A questions, just out of all of the lessons from all of your different experiences, right? In yours with your experience with your family, yours starting with the new, you know, with your new business, right? What is the one thing that you've learned that is completely that you would never have learned if you did not embark on this journey? That could help our audiences at home.
For me, is that you won't know how to run a business until you run a business. That's all. You won't know until you do it.
That's a good point. But that's a good point. For me, I've been a bit deeper. A business is always a reflection of the owner. So the more you understand yourself, the more you understand your business. And right. And at the end of the day, as much as knowledge can bring to you, the most important for all of us is always to do. Because a lot of us are very fearful because of the conditioning from school that failure is failure, you know. But failure is just a way of telling you it doesn't work. So as long as you fail and your business doesn't collapse, you just keep trying until you succeed.
All right, thank you. So those at home, remember, do not be afraid of failure, and don't be afraid of trying and doing it. I think you'll learn as you're doing it as well.
Both of us are actually failures, right? I mean, we've been through a lot of mistakes and failures, but we are still here. And
yeah, no, it's cool. I'm a failure too. I was supposed to be a doctor. Now I'm here. I'm happy. All right, so we have a few more questions from our audience members. Our first question is, how do you make sure you stand out among the thousands of bakers out there? So whoever wants to answer first.
I think this is easy for me. You just need to have good genes and good looks. I'm just kidding. For me, how do you stand out? Right? It's always find out a niche. So if there's a niche or a demand for that product, then I ask myself, do I have the strength or the capability to do it, right? And then you decide whether you want to do it or not, right? Because a lot of us, when we see like this is the trend, that is the trend, all of us just keep following. But at the end of the day, is that your brand? You know, if it's not a brand, then just don't bother. Just focus being yourself and just be the best. Like for us, we sell alcohol cake. It's a very niche market. But as long as you be the best of the best in your industry, it will be fine.
Thank you so much. What about you, Young?
My take on it is, number one, same thing is that always differentiate yourself from your competitors. Know what is different from others. Even for myself also, it's the same thing for any industry, really. But the main thing is, it's part of the module as well. It's 4 ways to keep a competitive advantage, right? You've got products, you've got delivery systems, and then you've got staff, and then you also have the service, the customer service. For me, in this day and age, products and delivery is almost like you must have it. It's like an entry requirement. It's not like nothing. It's not so much of a competitive advantage anymore. It still is, but not as much as it used to be. But excellent staff, excellent service mindset to your customers. That is the one that will differentiate, your business from the rest of it. And at the same time, what we mentioned also, treating your customers is the fuel for your business. So that's my 2 cents.
All right, thank you so much for that. Thank you for that. We have another question also, actually. And this one is, this is for Eddie, okay. Hi, Eddie. How and in what way did you do to approach the cafes to sell your cakes to them?
So for me, it was very straightforward. So like I said, always leverage and be resourceful. So for me, I was busy baking at home. So I leveraged on a friend who always go out to do cafe hopping. So I was saying, hey, just tell me which are the best cafe, right? Okay, so I got 10 cafe. So I will make 8 cakes. Each cake I cut into 10 slices. So I got 8 different slices flavor. Then I just, without making an appointment, I just go in. I just go in, hey, I'm Eddie. I bake cake from home. Here's my cake. I never even give them any price list. I just say, if you like the cake, just call me and we can talk. And then, that's how we start the build. But then again, there's always disappointment, because starting my cake wasn't nice. So when I sent to 10 cafe, maybe 1 cafe replied. So I felt very, but then in actual fact, it was me that wasn't good. But just keep doing. Then slowly, word of mouth, everything will grow.
Actually, how did you deal with that initially? Like when you felt that rejection, because I think a lot of people feel that barrier of trying to sell something because they don't want to feel rejected. So how did you overcome that and continue to persevere?
For me, I don't know how to overcome, but I just always put myself in very uncomfortable position. I always push myself. So one thing I do is every time I did something I'm proud of, I'll reward myself. Like I buy myself a shoe.
So it's just a really good motivating factor. What I do is I buy eyeshadows, but unfortunately that makes me more broke than when I first started. Because if any one of you buys eyeshadows, they're very expensive. All right, so sorry, we have one more question. And okay, so I think this one I can go to Yong. How to get potential buyers to purchase your product via social media?
Okay. Again, this is I feel is an entry requirement as well, because as we said, social media now is like your shopfront. It's like your storefront. It is a storefront, whether you like it or not. Imagine you go into a shop and the deco isn't very nice, or sorry, I'm out of stock here, or click, there's nobody in the shop, there's no followers. Maybe this is all, it's the same thing, but it's just online. So that's how social media is. How to go into the nitty-gritty, I can't really go into it, but I just know that photography is very important. It's like, because you can't display the product in front of them, you have to show
for food,
that, and also followers, likes, and engagement is really important. And going back to it is that you must have good communication with them. So they comment something, make sure you speak to them. They're not talking to a shop, they're talking to your people in the shop. So just remember that, and I think there's a lot of tips out there that I'm sure you can look, but I think that is the basis for me for social media.
All right, thank you so much, Yang. What about Eddie?
For me, how do you get buyers to buy from social media, right? For me, it's more about marketing. Like social media, Instagram, and Facebook is just a top funnel. A top funnel means people know you, get to know you, and that's all, right? So after that, you can run Facebook ads to target, like, if people come to your Facebook page, just keep showing them this image for another 2 months, right? And then you keep showing on in their feed, I think more than 20 times, they eventually buy your cake. But at the end of the day, just provide value.
All right, thank you so much. Those are two very different perspectives, but I think it's interesting as well. So I guess you can use social media in any way that you see fit for your business and for your business goals. So we have one more question, one last question. And the question is, what are the rising trends in the F&B industry at the moment? And how can bakers tap into that? Okay, I see you holding up your mic already.
Baking school.
Also, it goes back to what we've been talking about. Personalization, customization, that's one of the trends, right? Now, again, times have moved so fast that you look 5 years ago, there's no way you can I can talk to a top chef like Eddie himself and say, oh, I like to buy this, I like to buy that. No, it's like, this is my product, so you buy this, like, what can you do? So the trend is that, again, technology and all these things, we are able to serve everybody like a VIP. if I go to a bakery back then, I have to be a VIP before they can
Yeah.
give me something that I like. Oh, less sugar, please. Or, this sort of thing. So that's a trend, I think. And health is a trend as well. And so for me is that home bakers are the ones that can, because you're small, you're able to twist and change to your customers. So that's my take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you're right. Customization has been around for a long time in Starbucks, but I think recently, ever since Grab, right, you can all kind of like add in whatever you want, whatever you don't want. And I think, that's a really good point. People want what they want and they want it now.
I think if for health, right, I feel one market which is very lacking right now is affordable keto cakes, ketogenic cakes, affordable type. Delicious, affordable ketogenic cakes. I think that's very lacking in the market right now.
Oh yeah, that's true. Anything that's keto or has those LA brands, right? Those things are always very, very expensive. So yeah, that's a really good place. But yeah. Thank you so much.
Top tip, guys, from Chef Eddie. Top tip from him.
Yeah,
So
sorry?
let's see who takes up the challenge.
Oh yeah, affordable keto cakes. So it's like anybody out there who can create an affordable keto cake can pitch it to Eddie. Or you can come to his classes because he will be giving away some free classes as well at the end of the session today. And you can hold on to that, come to his class, maybe do what he does to all of the other cake baking business. Come, hey, this is my product, and see if he can buy from you. The seller has become the chooser now. All right, so thank you so much to the both of you for this wonderful session. And I'm so glad that we got the both of you to come here and to share. Before we go, do you have any last words?
Yeah, check out Startup, guys. Big thank you. Jack and Yao from Anchor, from Kuali, the entire Kuali team. Karen, Kareen, Alina, Lorraine, MIB side, our chefs, Meike, Xia, Dr. Raja, Mr. Vira, and so many people are involved. The developers, Ken and Sam, working overnights for the past, since March until now. A lot of work has been put into it, a lot of thought has been put into it. We've heard what you guys want to see. We've had people like Eddie coming in and from the online business, home baking business, telling us what it is. So it's a really good program. Please have a look and see. There's not just videos, there's templates, infographics. If you have no time, you can listen as a podcast and so on. So check it out.
All right, thank you, Yang. What about you, Eddie?
For me, thanks for the opportunity and thanks everyone. I think for me, it's if you have a dream, go and fight for it, right? Yeah, just go and fight for it if you really believe in your dream.
All right, thank you so much. And we have more sessions to come forward, more discussions like this. But before moving to the next session, it's contest time. So please scan the QR code that appears on the top right of your screen. Then you can scan the QR code and answer a few simple questions related to the session. And the first few people to answer the question correctly will receive a gift. We will also be placing the contest link in the comment section for the benefit of those joining us via mobile. Now, to qualify to win, be sure to put in the correct answer along with your details in the Google form. So remember, be right and be quick. For this session, you can stand a chance to win special gifts from MIB College and a free coaching session by Eddie Tan. Like we mentioned before, wow, this is amazing. And we have more coming for you after this. We also have our special Fireside Chat. For our next session, we'll be having a special fireside chat with a new and experienced home bakers who will share their ideas and techniques for cake decorating. And to moderate this special session, we are excited to welcome pastry chef Zoe Wong. And on the panel, we also have Chef Lionel from Anchor Food Professionals, as well as Ms. Nabila Ashikin from Ophelia Bakes. Ms. Karen Leong was supposed to be here before, but unfortunately could not make it. But I cannot wait to hear from the rest of the panel, this wonderful lineup panel on their creative inputs on how to decorate a cake. And I'm sure that the audience is also very excited. So Zoe, the panel is ready. Whenever you are, you can just take it away.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Myra. Thank you so much to Chef Lionel and to Nabila for being here today. We're excited. So a quick introduction before we start asking you all our questions. What is cake decorating? So for me, cake decorating is a process of making cakes look pretty, making them look enticing for your customers, aesthetically pleasing. But I think more specifically for us as chefs, as pastry chefs, it's also a way for us to express ourselves creatively or artistically. Don't know if you'll agree with that. But I also think kind of in the same vein of looking at art, there are lots of different mediums with which we can decorate with. So you can decorate your cake with fruit, with cocoa powder and icing sugar, with edible flowers. But we also have more specialized forms of decorating with fondant and with buttercream. So maybe we can start by breaking down the components in a cake that could be featured in decorating.
Well, basically, if you want to pick something up, it's the eye appeal of the product, right? So for me, for instance, the cake itself, there's so many elements that you can decorate. From the swirls in the batter, as you can see, maybe, the side of the cake, the layering of it, the filling of the cake. And it all comes down to the creativity of the baker itself and how the baker wants to express that in the cake. I think that truly shows.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That's a great intro. Okay, so let me ask, what kinds of cakes do you specialize in, and what are the typical ingredients you would use for decorating those cakes?
Okay, as for ours, Ophelia Bakes specializes in buttercream cakes. So our main component is, of course, butter, but our special recipe, we even use Anchor's whipped cream. So actually the combination of Anchor butter and Anchor whipped cream, it is the perfect combo for our piping and flower deco. So which is why I choose Anchor products for this.
And it's really light.
Yeah,
nice,
it's really
right?
light, and I really like the consistency and how stiff it is. So that whenever I pipe the, like say a vintage cake, the piping looks very solid and it's very firm. So I really like how the outcome is.
With the clear line.
Yeah, I really like like when you pipe using a star tip, right? So all the lines are very clear and very like prominent. So I really like how it looks like.
Fantastic. So I also like that, you have your basic recipes, but then you pick products that, kind of support what you want to do and the kind of look that you want to create. So could you maybe explain the differences in ingredients that are used for cake decorating, and what are some of the factors you need to consider when decorating? I guess Nabila mentioned that a little bit, but maybe you can carry on from there.
Yeah, sure. So in cake decorating, basically, there are ganache, there are creams, right? So going back to basic, you need something light, so it won't be too overpowering when you're incorporating with other flavors, right? True? Maybe it could be raspberry, chocolate, and those kind of flavors. At the same time, you want it something to be a little bit versatile in a sense that is easy for the bakers to work with. So in general, when you whip the Anchor whipping cream, it easily holds its shape, like what Nabila has mentioned, the define, the characteristic when you do the piping and stuff. So it's a factor actually to consider when doing cake decoration, all right? So, and also it won't slump to make the cake to be more firm.
And what about in terms of like mouthfeel and texture?
So it's
From
a very
the
good
point of a consumer, sorry.
For the mouthfeel, since it's dairy, when it goes into your mouth, right, it just melts because it has a lower melting point because it's pure dairy and your body is like 37 degrees. So this dairy will melt around 34 degrees. So it has a very nice, pleasant feeling as you put into it, and it won't leave that greasy aftertaste.
Fantastic. Thank you for the insight. So sadly, Karen Leong couldn't make it today, but we would still like to share her talent with fondant cake decorating with our audience today. So we would like to show you this video that Karen's prepared for us. So that was Karen Leong's fondant cake decorating technique. On the other hand, we have Nabila's decorating style, where she uses buttercream. Here is one of her most recent designs of a cake, which was shaped as a vase with flowers. Let's have a look.
This couldn't happen again.
Thank you. That was so beautiful.
Thank you
So
so
gorgeous.
much. Oh, thank you so much.
And I love the care that you take with the packaging and the music, even for the reel. Thank you
It
so
gives
much.
the whole experience.
The vibe.
Even the color combination is really nice.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
So can I ask, how did you find your niche with this particular style, which is kind of more vintage? Maybe you can describe it a bit further for us.
Actually, it took me like a year plus to find what I want to show and like what I want Ophelia to represent. For example, like this vintage and floral combination, right? So before this, I tried many kinds of cake decoration, such as the minimal ones, the Korean cake design, but turns out I really prefer floral and vintage because that's what Ophelia means. I mean, like Ophelia, the name itself is very vintagey. It's actually from Shakespeare's play, and it's very feminine, it's very romantic. So I would like to portray that in the form of an art, but it's edible. So, yeah.
So it's like your identity.
Yeah, it's like a brand image because I would like people to like whenever they see a vintage cake or a floral cake, they would straight away think, oh, it's Ophelia's. So in a way, it's like how I want the brand to be. So it's a solid brand that you don't need to hard sell your brand. You don't need to put a logo on every cake that you make, but people know that it's yours. So I want that's my vision for Ophelia in the upcoming years. Yeah.
Amazing. I think you've already, begun to achieve that. So congratulations. And I think it even touches upon what Eddie and Young mentioned earlier about differentiating yourself in the market. So given that this is kind of, your artistic expression, I can see how much you care about it and how much you love doing it. I feel like it must be very difficult to put a price on that, right?
That is somewhat true.
But maybe if you can give us some of your thoughts about how you price your cakes and how you, put a figure to all of that effort and all of that learning that was involved before then.
First and foremost is, of course, to take into consideration the cost of the ingredients and the time that you need to produce a cake. So usually a more intricate cake requires a longer time to complete, right? So basically, first the size of the cake. Bigger the size, the more ingredients that you need, so higher the price. And also next is the intricacy and the workmanship. So how much would you want to value yourself? So as for me, the one thing in mind is that for me to always practice and polish all these decorating techniques and also cake making, so that I can increase the price and level up. So basically, it depends on the intricacy and the outcome of the cake itself and how much people are willing to pay for it. Because it's like an expression of art. It's not just a cake. Like as you see, it's a vase cake. It's like something that you put on the table and it's like a centerpiece. People won't know that it's a cake unless if they cut open, right? So I
would think if it's a vase. Yes.
Because I want the experience to be like, it's not everyone can do, because art is like every baker has their own ways and styles of creating a cake, right? So I want this one to be like something that they can discover on their own. So by that, you find the value of your skill, and from there you can price your workmanship. Yeah.
So the bigger the cake she was saying about, so there's more surface for you to decorate, right?
Yeah,
From the
that's
top,
the thing.
the fillings of it.
And the ingredients used is probably double,
Yes,
triple
correct.
than a regular one.
And takes a lot of time.
Yeah, and to complete, because the small cake would take me around 45 minutes to complete the decoration. Like the regular, because my regular design is the buttercream painted, using the palette knife painted cake.
Oh, wow.
So that one will take me around 45 minutes for a 6-inch cake. So for, say, a wedding cake of 2-3 tiers, but the same design will take me probably 4 to 5 hours. So yeah, so that is the thing that you need to put into consideration when you price your cakes. So time is money anyways.
And she's not telling her price to us.
No.
I did ask, she's not telling.
DM for inquiries.
No,
DM
the
for
price
inquiry.
is actually on our Instagram. You can just check it out. But for customization, of course, we'll quote you a different price because that one is we need to see whether it's doable and what are the items that we need for the cake first before we can quote a price for the customer.
Of course, and these are like your, new, fresh ideas, so
Yeah.
that takes time to develop as
True,
well,
true.
I'm sure. Yeah. So, if we can ask, what was the most difficult cake design that you've had to do? Did you enjoy it?
Oh my god. Okay, since I'm more to buttercream, so there was this one customer who requested for a Black Panther cake. So it's a half body, like a pot, like this size of a cake. So considering that I'm not really a pro fondant punya, right? I'm not really good at fondant.
Yes, because you have your own speciality,
Yeah,
which is the
yeah,
buttercream.
yeah, and all the struggles behind creating a cake. Sometimes you see it's just a normal wedding cake, but maybe on that day I wasn't feeling well, or maybe there was some unwanted circumstance. So behind the cake, there was like tears, blood, sweats, and everything.
Hardship,
Yeah,
yes.
all the hardship, but then in a way, customer, it's all the behind the scenes story of a cake.
Like she
Production.
made like 4 hours or 1 day, right? to do
Yeah.
it? And then they edit in 1 minute. And it's gone.
Yeah, that is somewhat true. And the worst part is actually when you're done decorating a cake and during the delivery or during the handling and it slips. Oh my god, that is like a total nightmare for every baker out
I
there.
can imagine that.
Oh my
yeah.
god. It happened to me countless of times.
Oh, what do you do to recover? You
I
make
had
a new
to.
one?
Yeah, I had to
Touch
like
up?
it depends on the severity of the damage. But if it's too severe, like if the cake cannot be salvaged, I'll just replace with a new one. Because usually it's not from us. So because we as bakers, we know how to handle cakes, and of course we want to give customers the best. Right, but then when it comes to delivery, say if you use a third-party delivery, and the driver has no idea how to handle a cake, and it slides during transport, so it's like a heartbreak to me as well.
Yes.
It's heartbreak to everyone. So by that, I try to compensate. It's either if it's okay, if it's not for a special occasion, I'll just compensate, or if it's for a special occasion, then I'll do my best to replace it as soon as possible, because a cake is like the main highlight, say like a birthday celebration. It's nothing without a cake, right? So if the cake is damaged, and us as bakers, although it didn't get damaged in our hands, but we still feel like so like worried of what people might think,
You
right?
have that responsibility.
Yeah, we have this like mental load of thinking whether the cake safely arrived, is it looking good, has the icing melt, how's the temperature, or how's the environment of the venue or something like that. Even though it wasn't even our responsibility, but it's kind of like something that, yeah, it's like unconsciously our responsibility as well.
Of course, because you've put so much effort and
Yeah.
time and thought into planning it and actually executing it, for sure. And I think an interesting point that you brought up, it's not, for our audience as well, it's also about how you recover from, little slips and mishaps like that.
Yeah, and then like it took some time to recover from the. Of course, we all get traumatized, especially when the damage is
Nightmares.
really bad. Because the last time I had was the worst one, because the driver had no AC on. So the icing melted all the way before it arrives at the customer. So I was traumatized. I was really, really traumatized. So my runners after this will definitely hate me because I will be doing like some checkup on their car, check their aircon, check their. I mean, like the way they place the cake itself will like
Not on an even surface.
yeah, it needs to be on
especially.
an even
Yes.
surface. It needs to be on the foot space or something like that, right? Or either on the seat. But the seat usually is
Yes.
a bit inclined.
Yes, correct.
So yeah, my runners, I'm not sure whether they hate me or not. But I'd rather have them hate me than the cake damage. Yeah.
Do you put a seat belt on your cake boxes?
No.
Okay. So can I ask, do you have any particular favorites in terms of cakes, cake projects that you've worked on before? Besides the Black Panther one?
I have a lot of favorites, to be honest, especially when customers allow me, like, they give me the full freedom to create something from scratch. So they just give me their preferences, such as the colors that they like, the do's and don'ts. So from there, I just create. And the best thing is that when they don't want to look at the proposed sketch or something, they want like something like, okay,
Surprise me.
surprise me.
Yeah.
Okay, I will make sure that I will give them my best, of course. So that usually that will be my favorite amongst all. And yeah, because I'm not like a very planned person, I sort of, whenever I decorate, when a customer gives me the full freedom, I treat the cake like a blank canvas. So I decide on the base color first, and then from there, when I pipe, it's like automatically you create something new. So, but that's why when people ask me, what are your inspirations? It's hard to tell because, yeah, you can get inspo from everywhere, but it's how you create and it's how you turn them into your own form of art.
You can say my hand is my inspiration.
Oh my God.
And I can imagine, as a customer, when I already say like that and it arrives to me, the cake, I will really be really surprised.
Yeah.
With your intricate design I've seen
God.
it on, right? I'll be like, wow. Surprised in a good way.
Yeah, okay. Thank God, surprised in a good way.
That's really fantastic. Do you also like do sketches or little drawings? Do you Pinterest?
I used to paint before I started baking because I started this Ophelia a year and a half ago. It was after the very strict MCO lifted. So it was when I get to buy my big supply and all that, right? So because previously I sold cupcakes when I was in high school. So I sort of have this idea of baking business thing. So it's kind of like a rediscovery of my long lost passion. Yeah, but my cakes back in high school were so heated. We can do a like next to each other comparison. It will look so different. So it was after the MCO I started Ophelia, and yeah, from there, wait, I got blur.
You fell in love.
Sorry.
From there, you fell in love with Anchor and you incorporated in your
Oh,
products.
yeah, of course,
and
yeah.
there you go.
Because I tried so many products, and of course I got hooked up with Anchor, especially the whipped cream and also the buttercream. As I said, my buttercream recipe, I added some whipped cream to it. But because
So
you
that
were-
is the secret, yeah?
yeah,
that
that
you can
is
share
actually the
with
secret.
the audience.
But then I
that
will.
nice, light, fluffy buttercream.
Yeah, that is true. But I cannot reveal the exact
Proportion.
recipe. That is PNC.
The exact composition.
No, the exact ratio also
You are
cannot.
bringing it to your grave.
Okay.
Great, thank you so much. Do you both have any advice for our aspiring bakers?
Maybe you can give
Oh my
one and
God.
give one.
Okay, I'm still a newbie actually because we're only one year plus in this business. I mean, like seriously in this business. But to aspiring bakers out there, my message is, just go for it. Just take the challenge. Sometimes you might feel that, oh, I might mess this up. But I think failures is a way for you to learn, and it's okay to accept bad feedback from customers because if you keep on receiving the good ones, you'll never know where to improve. So don't be afraid to get all kinds of feedback, whether it's a positive one or a negative one. And to me, as a self-taught baker, if you wish to attend classes, yes, go for it. But if you wish to learn on your own, because basically cake, especially cake decorating, is a skill thing, you can learn the recipes, you can, you can have all the ingredients, but you need the skill to produce whatever that you want. So it's a you need
Practice makes perfect.
Practice makes perfect, and it's like you need to practice, you need to polish your skills. So even myself, I'm still learning a lot, and I'm still practicing day to day to improve my designs and.
Do you do practice cakes just for fun?
Yes, of course. Usually I use my leftover cakes and then I practice on them because I don't like practicing on foam because the feel is different. Yeah, it's very slippery, right? So I use a normal cake, usually leftovers. Sometimes it's like one layer of chocolate cake and one layer of butter
But
cake.
it's edible and it's nice to eat as well. You
I
can
don't
use
eat
the person
cakes
around you
anymore.
as guinea pigs.
Yeah, for taste tests for new flavors, then I have everyone around me to try. But for the regular ones, just for the cake decorating sample, that one the cake might not be any more edible because it's been in the chiller for I don't know how long. Because to avoid wastage, right? So I use the same cake, I deco, and then when I'm already bored with it, I just scrape everything, and then I do another design. So it's the way to reduce wastage.
For your own practice, yeah? Not
yeah,
for
yeah.
the customer.
No, definitely not.
Well, for myself, the tips for the aspiring bakers is that go out there, as much as you want. Don't save your money much. Just try and spend on food because you need to know how it tastes. Without knowing how it tastes, how are you going to bake? Am I right? So from there, you taste, you spend your money, go to Paris or wherever to try the best croissant so you will know the benchmark. Like if I'm going to make a croissant, this is how it should feel. This is how I should pronounce it, and I should be there or better. So that's how it should be. So that's my tip from them. Jangan nak diet semua, tak payah itu semua. Ya? Just go out, eat, spend your money, and to know how to benchmark and to make the product better when you bake yourself.
That's a very fun tip, to go out and eat food. Well, thank you both so much. It's been so useful to have your wisdom and your knowledge shared with our audience, and even with me. I feel like I learned so much from both of you. Thank you, and I'm going to hand the session back to Myra.
All right. Thank you so much, Zoe, and to everyone in the panel for that special fireside chat on cake decorating. That was amazing. It was so wonderful to hear all these stories and all the tips and tricks from all of the speakers and the panelists. But now we also have the contest time. So please scan the QR code that appears on the top right of your screen. And when you scan the QR code, you can answer a few simple questions related to the session. And the first few people to answer the question correctly will receive a gift. We also will be placing the contest link on the comments section for the benefit of those joining us via mobile. And now, if you want to qualify to win, be sure to put in the correct answer along with your details in the Google form. Be right and be quick. We have gifts here from several of our benefactors, so please look out for that. So ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start with our next session. For our final session, we will be discussing the ways to expand your business. And in this video, we have a special video from Cookout. Let's see what they have for us.
Waffles Malaysia started in 2019. Most of the ingredients are coming from Belgium, and they are coming from Belgium because we are using this traditional family recipe. My grandma, she was baking waffle, that I have always found that those waffles are marvelous.
We started from my mom's kitchen.
And there are days when the orders are overwhelming. I'm conquering every inch of my mom's kitchen.
In March 2020, when Malaysia announced the first lockdown, we were about 95% complete. And very fortunately, we had photos taken of the space. During the lockdown, we were able to launch our website and inform the general public about what we had built and that we had a cloud kitchen space to facilitate people who are doing online businesses and delivery businesses.
It has redefined the way we think and work before this. And firstly, it saves us a lot of capex, which is the capital expenditure.
When I think about Cookhouse, I don't think it's only a place where people come and work. I think it's a community. So it's a group of food entrepreneurs, of food passionates, and personally, I'm very happy that I'm part of the Cookhouse family.
All right, as you have seen, that is what Cookhouse looks like, that they are a cloud kitchen, which is kind of like a co-working space for kitchens. And the Cookhouse has also expanded from their first location all the way to 3 other locations in 1.5 years. And they have served over 50 vendors of differing sizes. So today, we're very glad to welcome Susan, the director of Cookhouse, with us to elaborate on the F&B journey that entrepreneurs typically face and how some of these steps could be optimized. We are also joined by co-founder of Bang Bang Sourdough, Jun Chi, and also Vincent, the founder of B Waffles. So here we are with all of our panelists. All right, so how are you guys feeling?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, great to be here. Excited?
Wonderful.
Yeah, excited.
Okay, so let's just start. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. Okay, so first of all, I think I want to start with Susan, if you don't, if you other
Please.
panelists don't mind. Okay, so Susan, can you share with us a little bit more about your cloud kitchen idea and where it originated from?
So I ventured into F&B about 5 years plus ago, and growing my own F&B businesses from 10 outlets, and then we have 2 central kitchens to support the business. I learned that capital expenditure as well as managing ROI and trying to grow new outlets and expand is quite taxing in terms of resources or cash flow and even manpower sometimes. So just from my own experiences and always trying to find better ways or more efficient ways, whether in cost or time or effort, how we could actually scale the F&B business. It struck me sometime in 2019 that when co-working offices were taking off in Malaysia or all around the world, where people benefited from working together in a place and sharing a place, it just struck me that there's so much more value to be unlocked if we were sharing kitchen equipment and commercial kitchen spaces, because these items are really expensive, and generally for a food business to invest in the equipment before they reach a certain scale, it costs a lot of money. So that was how the idea sparked. And in 2019, we started renovating the space in Sunway, which is our first cookhouse. And it was ready just in time for the pandemic.
It's a good construction break, actually, during the pandemic. You can have all the construction workers come out. So actually, talk a little bit more about this idea of Cookhouse, right? Because from the video, I can see that it's really beautiful, like the way that you design the Cookhouse co-working space, right? It's quite different from a lot of some of the other co-working spaces. Was that intentional or was that accidental? Like, hey, I like design. Like how,
I really love property, actually, and my background is also in construction. And before Cookhouse, I've never stepped foot into another cloud kitchen or another shared kitchen in my life. But I did envision that how would people come to work together and what would they need? And basically, in making every decision for Cookhouse, we take into consideration and putting ourselves in the shoes of the food operators there, what they would need and what's convenient for them. And I hope that with every new Cookhouse that we're doing and every new location, I hope that we've put in more and more improvements as well. Yeah.
All right. So later I'll probably ask the vendors of Cookhouse what they think about these
Of course,
cloud kitchens.
we can tell that, right? And Suzanne, if I'm not mistaken, Cookhouse is one of the first cloud kitchen to start in Malaysia, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely the first shared cloud kitchen as well.
Yes.
I think overseas they call it commissary kitchens. Same thing like co-working offices. Last time they call it service offices. But right now, I mean, the whole cloud kitchen scene has really evolved a lot. And at the end of the day, we found that when it's shared resources, there's a lot more benefit and much more value that we can actually offer to the food operators in our space.
Yeah, that's. Thank you so much for that question. Also, how recent is this concept of the food kitchen, and how has it evolved? Because you mentioned that there's some involvement, but
Yeah, like with the first cookhouse in Sunway, we are a pure cloud kitchen, so there's no dine-in facilities. But with the second, third, and fourth, we've actually got hybrid cloud kitchens where we have dine-in capacities of up to 250 persons. In fact, there'll be a cookhouse coming up next year in January that will house 500 dining capacity. So we found that this was also beneficial for the food operators that operated in the hybrid cloud kitchens, where they could offer their food as well to be served to people who come to eat. Yeah. Also, in our cloud kitchens, we have rolled event spaces into them, cooking spaces, whether it's to host workshops, classes, or video shoots. Nowadays, it's very important for the food operators to also share their messages, create content so that people get aware of their brand and the product they're doing. So these are other components that we've added to the shared kitchen, including even a co-working space in the first Sunway Cookhouse. So whatever I felt food operators need in their journey of growing their businesses, Cookhouse wanted to be there to support with that. Yeah.
it's wonderful. Thank you so much for that as well. And I think now we've heard a lot about the vision for the Cookhouse, but what is it like to work at Cookhouse? So let's bring it over to some of the vendors. So maybe Vincent or June, who wants to go first? You're in the hot seat.
You decide.
No?
Should I go first or you go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay, wonderful. So for June, can you share with us about first tell us a little bit about your business,
Yeah.
and also share with us about your journey in growing your business, right? Because if I understand earlier, you were previously from Kelantan. You had a base there, and then you moved here
Yes.
to work in the cloud kitchen. So tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so how Bing Bing Sourdough started was back in March 2020 when MCO 1.0 was first announced. So I remember very clearly, like, we were quite lost. But before that, I actually run a few cafes in Kota Baru. So I do have a bit of background in F&B. So when the announcement was made, we were really lost. But also at the same time, that my birthday was just like a couple of days ago before the MCO. So Bing actually made me some sourdough donuts, and that was my request from him. So when I posted it on my Instagram, people have been asking, like, oh, that looks good, can you ship it to us, and this and that. So we tested it out, and we use courier service to send it to different places across Peninsular Malaysia, like different cities, KL, Penang, Ipoh. And it kind of worked. So that's how we started. So we opened up an online web store where we list all our products and started just selling online and shipping them through courier service. But the challenge was that because the delivery wasn't done by us and it was not within our control. So some days it will arrive next day, some days it will arrive 3 days later. So we do have to handle a lot of complaints from customers, and our promise to our customers is that if you don't receive it within 3 days, we are going to refund everything to you. No, not refund. We are going to resend everything to you. Okay. Yeah. So that was our promise, and we had to, there were a bit of losses there, of course. So, and also we noticed we had most of our customers based in Klang Valley. So one way to overcome that is to, move closer to them. So a year on, we decided to try it out. To try it out here, based in Klang Valley, and that's how we decided to check into Cookhouse. Because it's really checking in, like, just walk in and start work. We can really start in a very, very short time window. Yeah.
So that was one of your main reasons for picking Cookhouse. It was the ease of it.
The ease of it, and and we really just had to focus on production and marketing, and we didn't, instead of spending on equipment and renovations, where things that you cannot get back the capital expenditure, right? So we decided to focus more on production and marketing first as we slowly penetrate into the market and observe the trend for now. And yeah, right now we are actually supplying to more than 15 retail marts around Klang Valley, other than our online web store, as well as a couple of cafes, doing wholesale.
That is so cool. And to think that it all started with a birthday wish.
Yes.
I think you got your birthday wish plus a little something extra lah. Also, I thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. But also, we have another vendor here from B Waffles, Vincent. Same question. What about, let us know a little bit about your business, and how you decided to come to Cookhouse, and how's it going so far?
Right. Thank you, Myra. So on my side, maybe the journey is slightly different. I've been in Malaysia for 8 years now, doing different business. And the thing is, I come from a country, Belgium, where waffles are quite famous. And I've had the chance to grow up in a family where my grandma, Nenek saya, right, we say? So my grandma, she was actually baking waffle. So I grew up with this feeling of warm and comfy waffle. And after a few years being in Malaysia, working in totally different industry, I don't know, it kind of came naturally to me that I wanted to duplicate what my grandma was actually doing in Belgium, at the time. And I wanted my Malaysian and international friends to be able to give it a try, to the Belgian waffle that I knew from my country, right? So I started as a home baker, changing my career from engineering and construction to started to do this venture. And I started in 2018. It's quite funny because in 2018, I wanted to go back to the point of the Cookhouse and the cloud kitchen, because in 2018, I was actually looking online how to set up a coffee place, or how to set up a central kitchen. And, I was lost, especially coming from another country. My Bahasa Melayu, apart from Nenek saya, is almost inexistent. So it was really difficult. And I knew from Europe and from the US that this kind of concept of a shared kitchen was actually existing. And in 2017, 2019, I started to do the search online. Where in Malaysia can I find that? Yeah. And it was not there. It was not there at that time. So maybe, Suzanne, you were already thinking about it, but in the market, it was not there yet, right? So, so when I actually started B Waffle in 2019, it was home baker. I was doing the dough, the manufacturing at home. And what I've been doing is actually I took 1 year to do a big market study. So I went to local markets. I went to Pasar Malam. My first playground was actually the Thursday market in Plaza Munkiara. So every Thursday I was renting my stall and I was bringing the dough, and with the waffle maker, the first waffle maker I bought, I was actually cooking the waffle. I went to Taman Kono market in Cheras. I did some food event in Artbox Sunway in Rio, some catering service. And I also had the chance to work with the Belgium embassy here in Malaysia, because I'm the official Belgium waffle supplier of the embassy, so I'm kind of proud of that. And that was 2019, and then in 2020, looking at the good results of the market study, I decided to move on to the next step. And the concept of B Waffle is actually two main activities. We are dealing with existing cafes and restaurants, whereby we are having this B2B line of business. We are supplying waffle dough, we are supplying frozen waffle to them, and we make sure we integrate those products into their menu. So up to now, we are collaborating with 10 regular up to 20 not so regular, but in and off cafes and restaurants. And we have a second line of business, which is B2C. So of course that line of business started in 2020 because initially I only wanted to focus on the F&B, and we know how 2020 and 2021 went. So all those F&B orders that I was expecting just never arrived. So I had to diversify, and then we started selling on B2C. We do online sales. We sell to home. We deliver to home. Yes. So that's about it. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much. And also, like, it was interesting is you 2 of those years that you spent, looking around and researching and looking for, doing market research, right? But also in terms of where you did decide to produce, all of your waffles, right? How important is the choosing that location, and how did you choose that location?
Right. So I think at the time I contacted Suzanne for the first time, it was only, if I'm not mistaken, only the Sunway Cookhouse outlet was available. And as I mentioned, for the F&B, the B2B line, the location to me is not that important because it's just like a manufacturing place. And we ship to our F&B partner maybe like once a month or twice a month. So the location is not that important. But for the B2C and the online sales, definitely location is key. We want to be as near as possible to our customer, right? Because we want to be able to offer them really reduced delivery fees. So what we do right now is actually we are using one of the cookhouse facility in Sunway to do the manufacturing, and we are using 3 locations, so the same one in Sunway, and also the location in TTDI and the one in Bukit Bintang as a shop to be able to sell. So as a customer, if you go online and you want to buy our product, basically based on where you are located, you can decide if you want to buy from Bukit Bintang, TTDI, or Taman Medan in PJ. And that makes sense because you want to buy the product. You don't really look at purchasing for the delivery fee, right? So you can have really reduced delivery fee, and that was important for us. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Vincent. And also speaking about delivery fees and location, right? So June, you mentioned earlier that you literally moved your business, right, from another country to
expanded,
expanded.
Not moved. Yeah.
Oh, so it's still
my bakery cafe in Kota Baru is still operating as usual, like business as usual. We used to bake from Kota Baru from our bakery cafe called Superdo, and ship it out using courier service. But right now, instead of baking from there, we moved here and bake even more.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
Now June can cover both sides.
Both sides. Yeah,
East
so
and west of the peninsula very well.
Oh, correct. So actually, that was my question. So sorry. But that was my question. Actually, what's the difference between, like, let's say the Kota Baru market versus the KL market? Because I think some of our audience members are also from different parts of the state. So that's
market. So in Kota Baru, we are also doing sourdough based. We are actually one of the first cafes to do that there. The market is very new. It's not as matured as Klang Valley. We have to do a lot of educating. We have to explain to customers what is sourdough, why does your bread, why does a donut has that tangy taste in it, why does it taste sour? But that's actually that depth in flavor that we are looking for in a sourdough products, right? But over here in Klang Valley, because it is already people know what sourdough is. The market is a lot more matured than where I come from. So there's less explanation, but at the same time, the expectation is a lot more higher. So we have to really deliver and always, be at the top of our game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't think that's a problem at all, seeing all of you with all your passion in your eyes. And, and also like, like Susan, you said earlier as well, right, that it's a good space for you to expand your business. So I want to also still talk about this idea of location, right? So you have several different outlets for your cookhouse, right? How did you choose the locations for these cookhouses?
Yeah, so there's a few reasons or few considerations into locations. One is where's the market. So you want to be close to your market to minimize the delivery fee. But at the same time, also we are looking at different locations where we can help food operators like Vincent to expand his market reach with minimal investment. So when they join the Cookhouse community, he can actually reach Taman Tun, reach Bukit Bintang at really minimal cost without having to set up so many different shops. So it's almost like using us as a satellite base to reach the different locations. So to us, of course, when we select the different locations, also we would select some which is within, maybe 8 to 10 kilometers from each other at max, so that when an operator joins Cookhouse, they could reach or cover Klang Valley more efficiently.
Any plans for any more cookhouses in the future?
Definitely, there are some in the pipeline, but still secret for now.
Oh,
maybe outside Kuala Lumpur, Susan.
Okay, so since she's planning on different cookhouses, right? You all can put in a request now for E1 for the rest of the cookhouses.
Oh, I have a lot of requests in Penang area, so.
Oh yeah, me too. Yes.
Let's do that.
All right, so that's cool. This is how we do it. We have these conversations, we get together, and and we also talk to each other and exchange ideas, which I've heard is one of the big pluses of having a co-working space for kitchen. So just a little bit on that idea, right? So anybody, open question, right? What is the benefit of working in a shared kitchen, and are there any challenges that you have to face?
Should I take that one? Yes?
Please, Vincent.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I think we saw quickly in the introduction video, right, where I'm explaining that I realized that quite fast that coming to Cookhouse is actually you feel very fast that you are part of this community, and in my case it's quite obvious because I'm renting the shared kitchen, so I'm not working with a private studio. I'm renting the shared kitchen, so basically you will find there several food entrepreneurs that are using the same facility. So it's a big facility with all the prep table and all the required equipment. So it's not only you going out of your home kitchen to do something on your own. No, you can actually join this community where you will be joining other food entrepreneurs. And this to me was really important because, when you are at home, you are in the comfort of your zone and your home and everything is under control. And I mean, the other option, if I have to compare Cookhouse or Cloud Kitchen or Shared Kitchen, and the other option is to set up your own industrial space where you have to invest and to renovate. But at the end of the day, you will be there, of course, with your staff, right? But you will be there alone. I like to be able to go to the shared kitchen of Cookhouse and meeting the other food entrepreneur, and we have this kind of debate, and we can joke and we can laugh, and some people like to sing, or But important is that I will make my food and I will call my friend and you don't you want to try this, and then give me your feedback and I will do the same. So again, I mean, you feel that you are not alone in your venture. You are other people doing their own venture, and you have the chance to be actually to do that kind of together. So yeah, again, there is this feeling about Cookhouse family or Cookhouse community, and I do truly believe that. Yeah.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. June, do you want to answer the question, or do you, or do we have another question? Do you want another question? I'll give you an option because you're special.
No. So the question just now was, what was the question again?
Challenges, right?
Yes. Like, what's it
I
like?
didn't answer the question.
What's it like working in a cloud kitchen, and if there are there any challenges to it?
Okay. So different from Vincent. We are actually renting a studio in Cookhouse TTDI, and the reason we have upgraded to a studio. I mean, previously we were in a shared kitchen, but the challenges in a shared kitchen is that you have less storage space. It's quite limited, and as your production picks up, as we supply to more retail marts and selling through more channels, we have to have more space to store our flowers, our ingredients and do our packaging and all that. So that's how we decided to take up the studio. And right now we have a little small space with actually our own pickup window. So right now we are using the pickup window as a lost bread bar. So what lost bread bar is actually something we have just recently started to reduce food waste. So because I mentioned that we supply to retail marts, right? So one of the challenges there is that there will be returns. It's sad, but there are return items. But because sourdough base, it has that acidic environment, right? So the bread doesn't go entirely bad immediately after our best recommended date. So it is still edible. It just needs a little bit of love, care, and you just need to sprinkle a bit of water and reheat it. And it's as good as I wouldn't say as good as freshly baked, but it's still good and it's edible. So what we do is we put a little racks out there, and any return items we'll just put there. And if anyone needs the bread, just take it as you need, and if you like to pay us, just pay what you like. Yeah, so that's the little thing that we are doing at our pickup window. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm definitely going to drop by.
Oh yeah, please do. We might not have a lot, but from day to day, because as soon as we have some return items, then we will just put it there. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll probably be quick and be fast in order to get it, because I bet that your sourdough runs out very fast. Okay, actually, I wanted to ask you, Sen. So you see a difference here, right? So like there's a shared kitchen, and then there's also like, the personal, the studio kitchen. So when you were creating this space for these bakers, right? When you picked these two things out, what were the things that you considered when you were creating this space for the shared kitchen?
Yeah, so what I recognized from the start was, as we are growing any business, including the F&B or baking business, at different time of your growth, you will actually need different kinds of... so you could start off actually, I think in a more traditional way, somebody would rent a space and fit out the whole kitchen, and let's say they have a grand plan of they want to achieve this kind of volume in 1 year or 2 years, and they would have to fit out the whole kitchen with all that equipment to cater for that volume and capacity. So you start paying from the start. And then that's why you have a very long break-even before you even see any return or profit, if I may say. But if somebody joins Cookhouse, we try to bring the profitability or operational profitability as close as possible. So they don't need to put out the capital expenditure. And when somebody is starting, let's say really from zero, for these two, before they came into Cookhouse, they already had something going. But there are also businesses who have not started even their brand. So they would come in and use our kitchens for R&D. And for that, they don't need a studio. And by paying as low as a few $100 a month or close to $1,000 a month, they could actually use all the equipment. And they can use this to create their menu. And they could try from dough proofers to dough sheeters, and even if they prefer to use even the hot kitchens, we also have combi ovens already. So with minimal investment, they're actually able to start developing their product line and really planning before launching into market. And as they are growing their business, they would have more and more staff coming along. But it takes some time before you can actually bridge the gap to afford full-time staff. So, but in between that, the business owner is very tired, and they are making, and they are baking to 3, 4 a.m. That's why Cookhouse is also actually a 24 hours facility. So we also offer higher kitchen help, where people can actually get our helpers part-time on an hourly basis, and we help the food entrepreneur in the gaps of when they have good sales volume. We don't want them to turn down the order just because they don't have the equipment or they don't have enough manpower. So we fit out everything to make it easy for them to scale. Even storage, if you want extra freezer or extra chiller for 1 week, you can just rent for 1 week, even for 1 day actually.
It's quite amazing. A la carte.
Yeah, actually, it's
based on what you need. You can basically pick up. Oh, I need more of this storage. And yes.
I'd like a freezer, please. Thank you. I'd like 2 butlers, please. Thank you. Sorry. No, yeah, that's a good point. Also, for you, it must have helped a lot as well, because I mean, you started as a home baker, right? And then how was that transition from? First of all, why did you decide to quit your job? Because I think there's a lot of barriers for a lot of entrepreneurs as well. You know, if they're having a day job, to stop that and then continue into business. So tell us just a little bit more about that. You know, like your journey from a home baker to scaling up with Cookhouse.
Yeah, right. So, as I mentioned, at the beginning it was more like a fun. I mean, it's still a lot of fun, right? But it was really as a try, right? So 1 year of market in order to study the market and to see what is the response when it comes to this new type of waffle in the Malaysian framework. And then it was really important for me. And I think it must be important for all the food entrepreneur at one stage of the development, is that you need to scale up to something a little bit more professional. I mean, I think home baking is amazing, and home cooking, and it has a lot of advantages, but you don't have to forget the fact that you are selling to B2B customer, or even like final customer that are ordering your food. So at one point, you have to make sure you have enough quality control on your food. And that is also one of the plus points of a facility like Cookhouse, because you are not in your home anymore, right? You are in a proper food production facility where you have a SOP to follow. So that also, I think, is a really, really interesting point. And yeah, okay. To go back to the challenges, because I realized that I didn't really answer the question last time. When you are at home, you're under control of a lot of things. Basically, you basically only have variable costs, that the cost of your ingredients and packaging and stuff like this, right? So, of course, if you want to move to a facility like a cloud kitchen or shared kitchen or like Cookhouse is offering, you have to make sure you have the right financial projection and you can basically have enough sales, because at the time you step into Cookhouse, you're having a rental, right? It can be it's a la carte, right? So you have different type of option, studio, shared kitchen, different storage, but still you have a fixed cost, right? So that is one of the challenge. You have to make sure you have enough sales in order to be able to take care of that fixed cost. And another small challenges I would say, especially for the shared kitchen, is that, I mean, that's what it is, right? You have to share. So you are sharing the facility, you are sharing the equipment. So I mean,
sharing
you have
the
to
sound, got people singing in the background.
yeah, exactly. So you have to deal with the fact that if you like to work alone in your own environment, then maybe it can be a little bit challenging on that part at the beginning. But seriously, when I look at all the plus points, I mean, like those challenges, is not. I mean, I don't really look at that as a challenge. Yeah, that's part of the fun of being in this community. Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, I wanted to jump just a little bit. Thank you so much for the answer. And I just want to jump a little bit to Susan, right? How does because you mentioned earlier that there are, they can come in, you can even rent your space for 1 day, right? So like, are there any cases where like home bakers come to you, they rent for a day or a month or a week, and then they upscale further to have their own brick and mortar kitchen? And if that's the case, like, when is it the right time to do that?
Yeah, so we do have daily and weekly rental. So for very low rental, people can come in, and especially if you got a big order. So in a home environment, you're always limited not only by space or size, but you're also limited by your electric capacity and the number of ovens that you have. So if you're using a home oven, maybe you could do a cake at a time, or if you've got a bigger one, maybe even 2. You come to our deck oven, you could do 4, 6, or at the same time, and we have multiple deck ovens, so that caters to even more. So with a shorter time, people are able to create more. And the same if you're doing cookies, if you've got a dough sheeter, it actually saves your arm muscles. You don't have to roll out that many manually. As the businesses scale and grow, whether from the shared kitchen to the private studio and eventually to their own space, we would love to actually support all the food businesses. Also, when they outgrow Cookhouse, maybe they have bigger dreams, bigger plans, other locations. Maybe they are moving there before Cookhouse. We never know. Yeah. So we definitely would definitely like to support that. And as to when, I guess it's when it makes sense. So when the dollar and cents make sense, when it's the right decision for the brand, I think the food operator would know. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for that as well. I think that's quite fair to say as well. And I think it's quite amazing because in a way, you get to be the beginning of the path that people take to fulfill their baking dreams, Susian. Do you feel that way, or am I just like, I'm coming up with like big words? But yeah, what do you think about that? Like, do you feel that? Like, because Vincent did mention
like a springboard.
Yes.
Like something that helps us to start and to jump, and maybe to continue to work with a cloud kitchen in the future, or maybe to venture to something different.
Yeah, that is really our vision, like, to make it easier for the food entrepreneurs and the bakers to scale. And yes, to use us as a springboard, as a launch pad, wherever you may want to go, we definitely love that, yeah.
It's beautiful. It's wonderful that we have, that space now, especially since there's, seems to be a lot more home bakers that come after the pandemic. So this one I wanted to actually ask June, right? How would you describe the current home baker scene, right? Is it competitive? Will it continue to be competitive? What do you think?
Not sure if I'm the best person to answer this because we are also fairly new in the baking industry, right? The baking community. But here's what I think. Nowadays, information is at our fingertips. It's not that hard to learn how to bake anymore. I'm not talking just about sourdough. It can be cakes, bread, or anything in general. But
I made a brownie the other day. I was like,
Ooh. Bing is also self-taught, my husband. He's the one that is leading the baker team. So how he learned was through a lot of readings, books, YouTube, and he also attended a few classes online and offline. Taking courses from teachers from abroad. Before MCO, all these are not possible, right? So having said that, and with all the prolonged lockdowns, who knows if there's one coming soon or not,
let's hope not.
As long as you're baking from home, and if your product is nice, and if you're able to sell it to someone, you're a home baker already. So I would say, yeah, it is competitive, but as long as it remains as a healthy competition, I think this will continue to benefit both the baking community as well as the consumers. Because the more exposure we get, I think the faster the community will mature, the market will mature, and this will really bring us to a new level. The sooner the better.
Yeah, I love that answer. Also, you're right. There's a lot of things, because a lot of people are scared of competition, right? They're like, competition is difficult because you have to, fight with other people to be in front and all that kind of stuff. But also, there's such a thing as healthy competition. Because if there's no competition, then there's no way for the industry to move forward. So I think that's a wonderful answer as well. And in extension to that, actually, I wanted to ask Vincent, what about how can home bakers, since information is very easy, you have a lot of home bakers, we heard from some of them earlier today, how can home bakers stand out from one another, like in terms of this healthy competition? Like, what can they do to make sure that they grow in an increasing business environment?
Right. I think I would like to rely first to the own Bee Waffles experience, and coming back to the nature of the business. Important, I believe, and in order to sustain the sales, it's a diversification. So we are handling sales to F&B, and we are doing like home online sales for home delivery. So I think that has been a way for us to stand out during the last 2 years, and also to have our name visible. Right, because we are not only selling on online platform, we are only part of other outlets menu, right? So people can go in this outlet, they like the waffle, or they say, they realize it's from Bee Waffle, right? So you have to create this environment where people are talking about your brand and your brand is visible. And for us, having these two lines of activity, B2B and B2C, this what I call diversification, it was a way to stand out. Other than that, definitely you have to listen to your customer. You have to be ready to change things based on their feedback, and you have to be creative and innovative. I don't believe I can go on with the same classic waffle that I've been doing for the past 3 years in Malaysia. Hence, this year we started to do like flavor waffle. We have
What flavors do you have?
Yeah, we have a really famous one in Malaysia is Biscoff. I believe everybody knows about Biscoff, right? You can see Biscoff everywhere nowadays. So actually, Biscoff is also coming from Belgium and the Netherlands, and in our country, it's called speculoos. So this is my small educative moment in the show.
Speculoos. Is that how you say it? Speculoos.
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 Yes.
Specu-
Yeah.
speculoos.
Biscoff, I think, is the UK translation, and that is the one that arrived here in Malaysia together with the product. But originally in Belgium and in the Netherlands, it's called speculoos. Okay, short.
It's okay. It's good. Now you know. Now you know.
So as I say, like different flavor. We also do a fusion waffle, coconut pandan, and Belgian waffle. So trying to adapt like different flavor to be creative, try to create something unique. That also helps you to stand out in front of or from the competition. So yeah, that would be my answer.
All right. Thank you so much, Vincent, for that answer.
Most welcome.
We're not done yet. We still have a Q&A session because I think a lot of our audience members are curious. But before that, we have a contest time, and you guys know the drill. We have gifts today from Bang Bang Sourdough and Bee Waffles. So please scan the QR code that appears on the top right of your screen. Once the QR code appears and you've scanned it, answer a few simple questions related to the session, and the first few people to answer the question correctly will receive a gift. So we will be placing the contest link as usual in the comment section for the benefit of those joining us via mobile. And if you want to qualify to win, please remember to put in the correct answer along with your details on the Google form. So I really do hope that you've been listening to the discussion. Remember, in order to win, you have to be quick and be right. All right. So thank you for that. Sorry for the little advertisement in the middle.
No issue.
All right, so we have a few more questions now. So one of them is to Bang Bang Sourdough. How do you keep track and where do you keep all the starters if you use cookhouse facility?
Keep track. Okay, I don't know what it means by keep tracking.
I think perhaps
of the
how
orders?
you keep track of your orders and where you keep all these starters.
So starter is the thing that we use for our sourdough. So we don't use yeast, right? So everything is using the sourdough starter. So we keep it. I mean, it's not an issue for us because we keep producing. So our starters. So for home bakers, there will be this challenge because the moment they feed their starters will double in size. And then if they don't use it, they have to discard half of it. But for us, because we produce so much, right? We actually use it quite fast, and we just have to store it properly and feed it regularly to keep them alive. And just store it like normal in the fridge. Yeah.
All right. What about in the beginning? So when you first started making a sourdough, how do you regulate the starters?
We just had to discard a lot of them because starter is like if you have this amount of starter, you have to feed the same amount, and then it will double in size. And then the next day you have to feed the same amount again, and it will, become 4 times the size. So if you are not baking regularly, it's really a challenge. There are some ways out there to, feed less than half, but for us it's not an issue at Cookhouse. Yeah, we do have the storage space and all that. Just to share something funny, recently Bing was preparing a pasta madre, the starter for panettone because Christmas is coming. So we were feeding it so much because we want to make a lot of panettone for Christmas. We have a lot of Christmas markets in December. Bing actually overfed it that it grew so big that it died.
Oh, no.
So we thought like we won't have any panettone to sell this Christmas, but So luckily, one of Bing's classmates, her name is Chusi. She's Autumn Kitchen on Instagram. So she reached out to us when she saw our tragic story on Instagram and said, you know what, I have some pasta madre, do you want some? So Bing, of course, happily take it, and we straight away, continue feeding it, and then now her pasta madre becomes healthy and good again, and we have started making panettones, like lots of them. Yeah,
Thank you so much. I think that's a really good lesson to learn as well. Do not overfeed your starters and do not overfeed your pets. That's another thing as well. Thank you so much. We have another question as well, and this is for Junshi as well. When you post out your sourdough products, how do you actually determine the packaging and the shelf life, as it takes a couple of days for courier transportation?
Yes, that was one of the challenge that I mentioned earlier on. So for packaging, for all breads, we actually want it to be sealed properly so that it doesn't lose the moisture inside, right? So we will seal it in sealer bag and then pack it nicely in a box and just send it. If it's an interstate order, then it has to take at least 1 day. So how do we make sure that it reach the customer before, we just test it out. Like in Klang Valley, there are a lot more options for us. And unlike back in the days when we were shipping from Kota Baru, most of the times, sometimes if we have to send it to Penang, the courier will come to KL first and then only go to Penang. So the route is longer. But as we moved here, we noticed that the routes are shorter. I don't know how to put this, but it reaches the customer faster.
Yeah, because you don't have to stop by KL.
Yeah, so far, I think our delay rate is really, really low. Like, I haven't had many complaints from customers since September.
I think Cookhouse is also looking at helping with that. So we've actually partnered with food labs, laboratories, where we can actually do nutrition testing as well as shelf life testing for whoever needs it. So, yeah.
It's really cool. And actually also, what about waffles, right? So waffles are also kind of sensitive. If they come, it's too long, the cream fits into the waffles. How do you regulate that?
Okay, on the waffle side, we have basically two types of products. We work with frozen product and we work with freshly baked product. So for the frozen product, we only work with on-demand delivery. So basically, the product will leave the freezer, will be packaged in a properly insulated packaging together with ice bag inside, and we make sure that from our freezer to the customer side is usually less than 20 to 30 minutes. For the F&B business, we also sell frozen dough or frozen waffle, and this is bigger quantity. So we use this, like a white box filled with ice and the product inside, and then we also try to have direct shipment from our facility to the customer, cafe or restaurant. So we don't do any delay or okay, but it helps our situation right now because we are mainly dealing with Kuala Lumpur and surrounding districts. I think we have the furthest cafe is in Hawang, so this is about 40 minutes drive. Now we are expanding and we have a cafe which are going to take our product, and they are located a bit everywhere in West Malaysia. So that is going to be a new chapter in terms of logistic and challenge in the logistic part. But you have this cold truck company and logistic company that can help you to do that, and hopefully we will find a right one to partner with. And
hint.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Vincent, for that answer. And I think one thing about this panel is that like the earlier panel, we talked about younger entrepreneurs or newly started entrepreneurs and their journey. And here we're talking about how to scale up your businesses, right? But we do have audience members who are also new and watching the panel, and they're interested in Cookhouse. So our next question is question for Susan. Most of us here are home bakers and likely are not able to fork out a big amount of of investment to own or rent a space. And also it may not be needed always for a smaller scale. In such ways, how could you help us, those of us who are looking for a place just as and when needed?
Yeah, we do have daily and weekly packages. So you could actually come to use Cookhouse for 200 ringgit a day. And you have access to our equipment and utensils. For a week, it's just 500 ringgit per week per person. So
actually, as a business operator, I find that really, really affordable. Like 500 a week, you can check into a full-scale kitchen and, you know, do whatever you need and maybe go out to a weekend market to sell your products. Yeah, but as your team grows, that's when, you know, you will...
That's when we hope you will come and be a resident. Similar to what happened to June.
Oh, so because now you have your own window.
With your we also have more people working in the team, so
Yeah.
it's not just... So the rates that she shared just now was for one person.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Yeah, no, that's actually really interesting. I mean, if I was a home baker personally, and I don't, so I'm probably coming from a place of inexperience, but I am a very extroverted person. So the lockdown was very difficult for me, and, I had to work from home. That wasn't really fun. So, if you're a home baker who has slightly extra cash, you need the, extra space in order to, or extra equipment in order to work at the, like you said, the night market or sell your products in other places. In your kitchen doesn't have the capacity, and you love to hang out with people as well as listen to other people sing. You can always come to the Cookhouse and look at the facilities. You did mention also there's one day. You can also come in for one day, right? How much is that?
It's 200 per day, and you're right, Myra. There's people who came and used the facilities just for fun. They were not making any product to sell. They just decided to come and cook.
All right. So I don't know if that's distracting or fun. You all can let me know. I will probably be that person. I'll be the demon that comes in and goes like, "Hi guys," and start singing. But this is why I don't. That's why I'm working here, not in the kitchen. But we do have one last question, and I think for this question is something that I can ask everyone. They asked if there's any concern with hygiene in the case of cloud kitchens, considering that many parties use the same shared equipment and facilities, and not everyone has the same standard of hygiene. Does Cookhouse provide cleaning services between users?
Yeah, so this is where Cookhouse really steps in and play our part as a managed facility. So we set the standards for safety and hygiene as high as we possibly can.
Cookhouse is very strict. Very strict.
I think most home bakers, when they come, because this is a commercial environment, so we want to be at the very top. And this is also, I think, something good for, it's something like a journey experience. So for home bakers coming in, they might feel like, oh, you need me to be in a chef jacket, you need me to get a typhoid jab and all this. But this also gives confidence to the customers when they know that you are producing from, a top-notch hygiene and safe facility.
So when
for demons who come in, they would get warnings. We have staff patrolling and checking to make sure everything is maintained clean and safe as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. You really you do look very strict about that. Actually, I got scared a little bit.
Yeah, we are all of us.
But everyone is scared.
I mean, Cookhouse is a place where people are coming to reach the next level. So I'm sure part of the reason and the main consideration for a lot of people who are coming to a commercial facility is also the safety and the hygiene. And everybody wants to go to work in a beautiful, clean place. So when we have the challenge of different people from different backgrounds doing different things and at different timings, so we need everybody to really follow and play their part. And this actually benefits the whole community where everybody enjoys a nice, clean, safe environment.
Okay.
True. I think you have a sentence written in the share. It's like clean as you go, right? Because that is the thing. We have to accept that this prep table that I'm using right now, somebody else is going to use it after that. So I found it clean. When I finish my work, I clean again, so that the next person can also enjoy in the same way I found it there. So you have to have that mindset, and you have to follow the rules. But it's only for the good of the entire community.
When you're in your house, you also have to clean.
Yes, my mom still tells me after 27 years, I'm still learning. Okay, not funny. Yes, I'm talking to three different bakers who take cleanliness seriously. All right, never mind. In that case, that was the last of our question. But before we do go, for those of us in the audience who want to scale up our business, are there any last advice, any last words of encouragement before we end the session? Maybe Vincent?
Right. I think I was watching the really interesting session before. I think it's Chef Eddie who says something about you have to go, you have to start. You don't have to be afraid of failure. I would go more in the sense of, I'm from a business management background, and when I started this, I was looking at the Excel sheet and I was trying to make the business plan work. Yeah, okay, it's good to spend some time on your business plan, but I think. And it's not only for baking, right? It's for all the venture, all the business. At one point, you have to go, you have to start. And at the first day, things will start to change, and the numbers will not follow what you were thinking anymore. But if you keep on looking at your numbers and to predict everything and to have everything perfect in order to do, then you might not do it at all. So I would say at one point, yeah, you have to jump and good luck with that.
Junshi?
Yeah, so I mean, even us being in a cloud kitchen today, it doesn't mean that we are where we want to be already. It's still a very long journey for us. But like this month itself, even with just 5 of us in the team, like 2 bakers and 1 production assistant, and very limited capacity, but very limited resources, but we are going out to like 5 different events back to back. I think my message here is that you just have to do it and figure out the rest later on. Yeah, just take it as you go, 1 step at a time. But yeah.
Remember, guys, it's from Bang Bang as well as from Nike. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it, I guess.
And last but not least, Susian, what about you? Any words of encouragement or advice?
They've definitely shared, I think, really something through the heart. I think it strikes every entrepreneur. There's never going to be a perfect timing. There's no such thing as a perfect plan. But what we have is we should trust ourselves and our own abilities and capability as well as skill to face any challenges that's coming along. So, I mean, the best time to plant a tree was probably 20 years ago. If you've missed that, then the next best time is now.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you so much to everyone for such a wonderful session. And while the team is getting ready with our winners list, we have a video for everyone at home, so enjoy.
Want to learn how to expand your business?
Nak belajar cara kembangkan bisnes?
Pursue your passion and dream. Sign up.
Jom daftar dengan startup today.
Support your local bakers at a better place.
Love sweet treats? Support your local baker at a better place.
Ladies and gentlemen, home bakers, entrepreneurs, we have almost come to the end of the Bake and Make 3.0 series. On behalf of Star Media Group and Kuali, I would like to thank our sponsor, Anchor Food Professionals, our speakers, our panelists, once again for joining us in making this event program a great success. And also thank you so much for all of y'all staying with us on this journey. Now, it is time to announce the contest winners. So we have 4 different segments where you could have won a prize, and here are the winners for the first session, which is the opening address launch of Anchor Startup and Better Place. So congratulations to our 10 winners. If you see your name on the screen, then we will contact you later. But these are the winners of the first session. Congratulations to all of you. We have winners for the first panel session, which was the time to scale up baking trends and entrepreneurship journey. So these are our 4 winners. Congratulations so much. You've just won a few gifts from some of our sponsors. And next, we are announcing the winners for the Fireside chat for ideas and techniques for cake decorating. Wow! Congratulations to all of the winners. We have a few. We have Daniel Ng, we have Shu Ai Ang, we have Sonia Kaur. If you see your names up on the screen, that means you are a winner, baby. All right. And the last but not least, these are the winners for the panel session that just ended, Bakery 4.0. You guys are fast. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us on our journey here today and sitting with us and listening and engaging with us in our Q&A session. So for those of you who have won, our events crew will be contacting you separately at the end of the event at your registered email, address, or mobile number for the arrangement. And with that, Bake and Make 3.0 is a wrap. We sincerely hope that you have enjoyed and benefited from this workshop produced by Events Business Unit of Star Media Group. And if you need any assistance from us, please email us at events@thestar.com.my, and please help us to complete our poll by scanning the QR code that will appear right after this. It really helps us scale up our event so that you have more fun. Once again, my name is Myra Baiti, and I'm signing out. Thank you, and we look forward to hosting you again at the next Star Media Group event. Bye.